have a purpose problem, you have a distraction problem. You keep asking God to show you his plan for your life by spending 4, 5, even 6 hours watching other people live their life, and then you wonder why you feel stuck. What if the biggest thing standing between you and your purpose isn't the devil? What if it's your phone? Let's talk. So if you are new here, I tend to anchor each and every one of my videos around one particular Bible verse. And today's verse guiding today's conversation is taken from Ephesians 5:15-16. Be careful how you live. Not as unwise, but as wise, making the most of every opportunity, because the days are evil. Now, I want you to keep this verse in mind because we'll keep coming back to it throughout the entire video. But with that being said, let's move straight into today's video. Now, I'm not saying social media is evil. No, I'm literally using social media to talk to you right now. But the problem is when social media starts to control your attention. When it starts taking you away from the things you know you're supposed to do, the things that God placed in your heart. For example, dumb scrolling, when you know you should be reading your books for that exam. Replying to messages, quarreling with strangers you don't even know online, when you know you should probably be reading your Bible, you should probably be studying, doing things that take you closer to where you want to be in the future. That's when social media starts being a problem. So I just want to clear that off because I'm not saying these platforms are evil. I'm saying it becomes a problem when it starts taking your focus elsewhere from what you know you're supposed to be doing as children of God. So what exactly am I saying social media is costing you? Let's move to number one. Social media is costing you your focus. For example, I don't know whether you've been in that situation when you had this very important exam, probably next week. What's the first thing you usually tend to do? For me, I tend to delete all my social media apps. If I don't want to delete them, I tend to freeze them because I know in my mind those things will distract me. Why do we do that? We know that they are basically going to distract us. And I don't think most young people are confused about that purpose. They're distracted from it. For example, you want to read your Bible, you probably get in bed, get in the mood, but then you receive a notification. And probably from TikTok, probably from YouTube, probably from Insta, whatever it is. And before you know it, 12 minutes you're already scrolling. You're probably commenting, you're probably liking. The Bible is still closed. You've just lost focus. Now, how does this relate to our anchor verse? The verse says, be careful how you live. You cannot be careful how you live if your attention is scattered everywhere. Social media is costing us our focus when it comes to chores, when it comes to actually doing things. For me, I've created a routine over time to not touch my phone, to not go on any social media app, not even WhatsApp, first thing in the morning, because I know that will distract me. That will dictate how my day goes about. Social media distracts us, honestly, that's the truth. Let's move to number 2 quickly. Social media is costing you relationships. And when I say relationships, I'm talking about your relationship with God. Because when we are bored, we scroll. When we are busy, we scroll. When we are eating, we scroll. Whatever it is, we are constantly on our phones, we're constantly scrolling. A few minutes, you find yourself in bed, still scrolling, and before you know it, you're sleeping with your phone. Probably with your phone on your face, you've slept. Where is the time to talk to God? We are constantly on our phone. And God usually doesn't speak in loud environments. He speaks in quiet moments. When you take your time, when you sit with Him, when you open your Bible, you are intentional about the environment around you. That's when He speaks. But when we are constantly on our phone, when we are constantly doing things that we know we're not supposed to do, when we're constantly scrolling, going through apps, commenting, liking, I'm not saying those things are bad, but when we are doing those things in every single time, we are trading something. And most of the times we're trading our relationship with God. But if we actually take time and look at the screen time on our phone of the day versus our time we used to pray, we find out that we spend probably 13 hours on our phone and probably like 5 minutes talking to God. Social media is costing us our relationship with God, even relationships with the outside world. Now, this has nothing to do with you being an introvert. What I'm saying right now is that you cannot compare meeting somebody physically online to you probably chatting them. Social media has made us get rid of the custom or made it feel like an age-old tradition to probably meet up with a friend and talk to them. Meanwhile, we're costing ourselves relationship. We feel like the person didn't reply. We feel like that person is not our friend. The person replied in some certain tune that we felt that was how the person intended to reply. Wait, I don't know if you get what I'm saying, but we instantly tend to ruin relationships with social media when it comes to texting. I don't know if you get what I'm saying, but social media is costing you your relationships. So let's move to number 3. Social media is costing you your assignment, the thing that you have to do. It is costing you. Now, this might sound a little funny because most people will disagree and be like, how is scrolling on TikTok costing me my assignment? But it really, really is. What am I saying? God hasn't just placed you in here to just consume things. He placed you to do things. But why you keep on sitting scrolling when you wake up, you're scrolling. Whatever you do, you're scrolling, you're going from one feed, one app to another. You have no time to actually sit down and be like, what did God place me here on earth to do? What am I supposed to do? How do I contribute to the society? You don't have that time because you're always scrolling, you're always going from one thing to the other, like I said. Social media will cost you assignments. Most young people don't know what they have been put on earth to do. And I don't blame them. To me, they are just distracted with other people living their lives, distracted with other people doing some certain things. They are distracted from what God has actually called them to earth to do. But when we are intentional, like I said, we are going back to our verse. Make the most out of every opportunity. When you make the most out of your time, sit with God and you're like, God, what did you place me on earth to do? What should I do? What should I start? Should I start a channel? Should I do this? You are more intentional about everything going on around you. But when you're not, social media will cost you your assignments. You will look back 50 years from now and be like, I just wasted my thing. I wasted my youth when I should have planted, when I should have built things. I was constantly scrolling, constantly watching other people build their life. Probably watching a 43-year-old billionaire, and you're like, when I get to 43, I'll start that partner business. I'll start that thing. No, start now. Social media will cost you your assignments if you don't make the most out of every opportunity. Let's move to number 4. Social media is costing you contentment. You're constantly comparing yourself against that 23-year-old billionaire, against that 19-year-old who has a Mercedes, against that girl who started a channel and probably has 1 million subscribers in less than a month. You are constantly comparing yourself. For me, something that I have been dealing with, I'm going to be honest here because this is a totally safe space, is that I've been constantly comparing myself, or rather, I don't want to use the word constantly, but I find myself most of the times comparing myself against probably people who have the fancy gadgets, who have the good lighting, who has all that. And I'm constantly working on this, of course. That's why I still have the courage to film this video. But social media will make you constantly compare yourself. Like our verse says, be wise. Live wise and not unwise. How does this relate to what I'm saying? Be wise with how your feed is trained. You can train the algorithm, train what you want to see, train the kind of content you want to consume. If you notice that this particular creator, I'm not trying to condemn anybody, is making you question yourself, making you compare yourself, please, and please, I want you to unfollow that particular person. It is not worth it. It really is not worth it if it makes you constantly compare yourself. Now, challenging yourself and comparing yourself is not the same thing. If somebody makes you challenge yourself, probably makes you feel inspired, keep them around. But when you find yourself constantly comparing yourself, it's really not worth it. And like I said in the beginning of this video, social media itself is not evil. But when we use it for the wrong purpose, when it's constantly taking our focus off the things that we know are going to take us long term to where we want to be, probably in 5 years from now, probably next week, or whatever it is, when it's constantly taking our focus from God, from the things that matter, really matter, that's when social media starts being a problem. So let me challenge you for the next 7 days. Do not touch your phone for the next 30 minutes. Instead, take that 30 minutes to spend time with God. Pray, journal, talk to your Father. Sit with Him for just 30 minutes, nothing much, nothing max. Take that time and be intentional with it. 30 minutes every day for the next 7 days. And at the end of those 7 days, come back and tell me what has changed. Now, if this video taught you something, you can become part of the Gospel Reachout family by just subscribing down below. I love you so much and I'll see you next time in my next video. Bye.